On that frigid morning of May 24th, 1998, Kathy O'Dowd, a climber as hardened as the ice beneath her boots, found herself confronted by a sight both familiar and utterly, disturbingly wrong. A body, a frozen monument to ambition, lay sprawled upon the unforgiving snow. Such grim discoveries were the currency of Everest, a mountain that claimed its due with cruel indifference. But this body, this frozen effigy, it twitched, a whisper, thin and ragged as the mountain air reached O'Dowd's ears. "Don't leave me, don't leave me." O'Dowd found a woman, a fragile form clinging to the precipice of life. "Why are you doing this to me? I'm American." The plea, laced with a desperate, bewildered accusation, struck a chilling chord. O'Dowd recognized the dying woman, Francys Arsentiev, and with that recognition, the horror deepened. Francys, inseparable from her husband, Sergei, the snow leopard, who had conquered the forbidding peaks of Russia, now lay alone, abandoned in the deathly embrace of Everest. But where was her husband? What dark secret lurked in the icy shadows? It would turn out to be one of the most disturbing yet oddly touching love stories in Mount Everest history. Francys, before the siren call of Everest, had proven her mettle. Denali's brutal winds, Elbrus's treacherous slopes, these were her proving grounds. Climbers know that Denali has notoriously severe weather. Each of these climbs exhausted Francys and pushed her to new heights of competence and resilience, and put her reputation as a climber in the public eye. She sought not just the summit, but the ultimate test of human endurance, to conquer Everest without the aid of oxygen. Then Sergei Arsentiev entered her life, a kindred spirit, a master of the frozen heights, a Russian mountaineer known as the Snow Leopard for his achievements in climbing Russia's highest peaks. Their shared passion ignited a love as fierce as the blizzards they braved. They were bound not just by love, but by a shared ambition, a desperate desire to stand atop the world, unburdened by the artificial breath of oxygen. Sergei, a veteran of the Pamirs and the Karakoram, prepared Francys for the ultimate challenge. He taught her the grim calculus of survival in the death zone, the art of managing exhaustion, the brutal dance with hypoxia. They were a team, a force against the mountain's wrath. In 1998, they embarked on their perilous pilgrimage, a journey into the heart of the death zone, where the air thinned to a cruel mockery of life, and the body waged a desperate, losing battle against the elements. The ascent continued, a grueling pilgrimage into the heart of the frozen wasteland. Camp 1, at 5,400 meters, marked a grim milestone, a point of no return, where the lower altitudes relinquished their tenuous hold. Then Camp 2 at 6,400 meters, where the mountain's icy breath began to bite, where the insidious tendrils of altitude sickness began to coil around their weary bodies. The strain, a creeping dread, began to manifest. The wind, a howling banshee, whipped at their faces, and the cold, a merciless predator, gnawed at their extremities. Fatigue, their ranks thinned by exhaustion, and the mountain's relentless assault faltered. But Francys and Sergei, bound by their shared ambition, pressed on, their resolve as hard as the ice beneath their boots. They knew the final push, the ascent to the summit, was a dance with death. Weeks of meticulous acclimatization, a desperate attempt to appease the mountain's wrath, culminated in their final assault on May 22, 1998. Against all odds, Francys achieved the impossible, becoming the first American woman to conquer Everest without oxygen. A triumph, a moment of fleeting glory shared with Sergei, her partner in this perilous dance. But the mountain, ever hungry, offered no respite. The descent, a treacherous path into the abyss, was yet to be faced. In the death zone, above 8,000 meters, their bodies, ravaged by the thin air and the relentless strain, began to betray them. Hypoxia, a creeping madness, clouded their minds, turning simple movements into monumental tasks. Sergei, in particular, succumbed to its insidious grasp. His thoughts fractured, his movements sluggish. A grim decision was made: to separate, a desperate gamble to increase their chances of survival. Sergei, weakened and disoriented, could no longer match Francys's pace. He would descend slowly, cautiously, while she, with a desperate hope, would attempt to reach the relative safety of Camp 6 or Base Camp. Francys, alone and weakened, stumbled down the treacherous slopes, her body shutting down, her movements slow and uncoordinated. Sergei, reaching camp the following morning, found an empty space where his wife should have been. Confusion turned to dread as he learned she had not arrived. The Uzbekistan expedition team, at 8,450 meters, encountered Sergei's desperate inquiry. "Where is my wife? Didn't she come down?" Realizing she was still trapped in the death zone, he embarked on a desperate rescue mission, carrying an oxygen tank and medicine, a journey into the heart of the mountain's icy maw. He knew full well that going back is full of risk and is deadly, but he did it with a very strong love and responsibility to his wife. The Uzbekistan team discovered Francys a mere 100 meters below Camp 4, clinging to life, a fragile form against the unforgiving rock. She was alive, but helpless, beyond rescue. They administered oxygen, a temporary reprieve in the face of certain death. But at 8,600 meters, the death zone's icy grip was inescapable. They could not carry her down. To linger was to invite their own demise. They were forced to leave her, a chilling testament to the mountain's cruel indifference. As the shadows lengthened, the Uzbek climbers encountered Francys Arsentiev, a spectral figure ascending into the gathering darkness, a desperate pilgrimage to reclaim his lost love. It was the last glimpse of him in the realm of the living. The dawn of May 24th painted the icy peaks with a morbid light. Briton Ian Woodall, South African Kathy O'Dowd, and the remaining Uzbeks, on their own ascent, stumbled upon Francys, a frozen tableau of despair. She lay where she had fallen, a broken doll against the unforgiving rock. Her pleas, thin and ragged, echoed through the desolate expanse. "Don't leave me. Why are you doing this to me? I am an American." But the mountain offered no solace, no reprieve. Kathy O'Dowd, her soul weighed down by the grim spectacle, faced a chilling dilemma: to abandon her own summit, to betray the sponsors who fueled her ambition, or to offer aid to a woman teetering on the edge of oblivion. The sight of Francys, broken and dying, extinguished the flame of her own desire to conquer the peak. Francys's spine lay twisted and broken, her hands swollen and grotesque, were cold, heavy weights. For over an hour, O'Dowd and her team battled the biting cold, the minus 30-degree air, a chilling prelude to death. But the mountain's grip was too strong. They were forced to abandon Francys, a decision that weighed heavily upon their souls, a grim sacrifice to the mountain's insatiable hunger. Francys Arsentiev, at the age of 40, breathed her last on the desolate slope, her body a frozen monument to ambition. For years she remained there, a chilling landmark for those who dared to challenge Everest's might. The Sleeping Beauty of Everest, they called her, a macabre tribute to her serene, almost peaceful pose, a stark contrast to the deathly chaos that surrounded her. Everest conditions are extreme with fierce winds and the mountain's harsh environment, making it nearly impossible to retrieve bodies. The mystery of Sergei's disappearance was solved a year later when Jake Norton, a member of the 1999 Mallory and Irvine expedition, discovered his body, a fallen figure against the mountain's face, a testament to his desperate, fatal attempt to rescue his wife. The ethical dilemma of Francys's body, a lingering presence on the mountain, haunted the mountaineering community. In 2007, Ian Woodall, driven by a sense of grim duty, returned to Everest with the Tao of Everest expedition. They found Francys, her body still visible after 9 years, and performed a brief, solemn ritual. Then they lowered her body, shrouding her in an American flag, concealing her from the eyes of future climbers, granting her a semblance of peace in the icy tomb that had claimed her. Her final resting place remains a secret, a gesture of respect for her memory. Francys Arsentiev's story, a tale of ambition and tragedy, serves as a chilling reminder of the mountain's unforgiving nature, the brutal choices that must be made in the face of death. And remember, dear listeners, in the realm of the frozen heights, where the air thins and the shadows lengthen, if you sleep, you make it easier for them.